Good morning, welcome to Exploring the Car. I'm Rod Castaldo, and I hope there's not a rattle. I hope you don't hear some like kind of rattle right now while I'm driving. I know that's annoying, but let's talk about what star children, what this is, and what and who we are, and why we're here, and what's going on. The quick, short answer, the blunt answer is no one really knows. No one really knows. All I know for sure is that nobody is here on this physical plane, this physical realm, by accident. I truly believe that. And I truly believe there are somewhere, when someone is talking about prophecies and predicting things and, at such and such a date, I think it's all bullshit, because I don't think anybody can put time frames appropriately into perspective when it comes to predictions and prophetic visions. On other planes of existence, time doesn't exist the way it does here in this physical plane simulation. We have the barriers of time, and what happens during this time, this past, present, and future that we have, is laid out for us in some sort of holographic blueprint. And as our life unravels and unfolds, we either get polarized towards the spiritual evolution of that blueprint, or we go down the other path. And there are, I guess, an infinite number of timelines that you can go down towards this lifetime. So it's pretty much said that everything is laid out for you, the blueprint, because on one of those timelines, everything will occur eventually on all those timelines. So everything is laid out for you. One timeline, on my way to work, this happened. One timeline, on my way to work, that happened. One time, so on all these different timelines of you, it's all been laid out already. So it's about which one you get polarized, or which one certain decisions and life events that happen with you, that's where you align towards. And it'll change the reality of other people as well that affect you. Everybody that is in your life has been put there, whether it's for a split second or 20 years. They were there for a reason, for a specific outcome. I believe that there is somewhere, and like I said, you can never predict with numbers and years and stuff like that, but I think there's like a couple 100,000 of us that made some sort of agreement or contract in prior incarnations to be here on Earth, or Gaia, or Terra, or whatever you want to call this planet that we live on. I think a couple 100,000 of us probably agreed to be seated here and awaken in a way. I don't like to use that term that we're awake, or we've awoke, because we all do have this information inside us. It's unlocking it, because when someone goes around and say, I'm one of the awakened ones, or I'm this, or I'm that, it's kind of like saying, like, you're putting yourself on a pedestal. And when you're doing that, how awake are you? Because then you're already self-centered. You're already thinking that you're better than everybody else. But I feel knowledge is inside of us. And some of us just have it unlocked, or we unlock it, or certain things and life events happen that bust it open. Seeds burst open inside of you, these particles, and this information just spreads and fills your body. And it's a knowing. And, you know, when certain thoughts arise and certain things arise inside your consciousness and your psyche, you don't have to show physical proof, because it's a knowing inside of you, and you just know it's real. You know, there's a certain way that my body responds to certain information when I hear it or when I think it, that I just know. I don't need other people to tell me. I just know it's for real. And wow, that license plate is interesting. Be raw. Be raw. So, like I said, I think even in the Bible somewhere I've read that they say there's 144,000 of us that agreed to be here at a certain time, that will be saved when the rapture comes or something like that. And people talk about the apocalypse like it's a one-day event, like it's just all of a sudden it's gonna be upon us, and we just, like, all of a sudden we know, oh my God, it's the end of the world, the sky is falling, you know, something like that. And it's not how it is. You know, even though my ancestry does have ties to Cristoforo Colombo, you know, my grandmother's maiden name was Colombo, and they come from a similar area that Christopher Columbus came from in Italy. And, you know, he basically had to pose as a Spaniard to avoid being, you know, burned at the stake, basically. You know, that's a whole nother video I'll go down, but I feel, if you want to call it the apocalypse, I feel we've been in the apocalypse since Columbus rediscovered America. And I've talked about it before. Even America is the Etruscans. That was one of the names. The Etruscans has many names for the goddess of death. There's a few different names. One of them is Vatica. It was the goddess of the death. She oversaw the dead. She oversaw that the dead got to the appropriate realm. And you know, so the Vatican being called the Vatican is very creepy. Very creepy. And this woman that's connected to my lineage, I'm not sure if she's a blood relative or she was just sort of like a prophet type messiah figure to one of my ancestors, or even maybe a lover of me in a prior incarnation, or one of my ancestors in a prior incarnation. But she was connected to my family, and she was from Volterra, Italy. And this is a very ancient area. Has mountains and caverns and deep entrances to the inner earth there. And Aradia was born supposedly in 1313, on August 13th. That might be a little bit too witchy, you know, if you say that date, but she was born most likely in the early 1300s in Volterra, Italy. She had a few nicknames that she went by. La Bella Pellegrina is one of them, which basically means the beautiful pilgrim. Oh, I just had to swerve away from a dead goose. So that was one of the names that they called her. They also called her Aradia di Toscano, which means Aradia of Tuscany, because she and then she moved to the Lake Nemi area in the Alban Hills. She was living in that mountain range somewhere in the 1300s. And I will definitely continue this story more, because Aradia, or Aradia, whatever you want to, however you want to say it, she had an experience in these Alban Hills where she was looking to the sky, and the sky opened up and she saw the plurality of worlds and the oneness of all things, and she had that spiritual awakening, and she heard the word whispered to her in the wind, moon shadow, and for her to look to the shadow side of the moon, and she understood everything of all the realms, and her DNA was unlocked at this time. And somewhere over the next course of the next few days, she was visited by watchers, or the Grigori they call them, and these beings, similar to the fallen angels, possibly the same as them, gave her 9 special scrolls, and one of them was of special metal material that, as she ran her finger across it, words appeared and unlocked. And not many people know this story. And at one time she had to give these scrolls. She was imprisoned, and some of the scrolls went to some of her followers, and then the Vatican ended up surrounding them and taking these scrolls. These scrolls, these 9 scrolls of Aradia, are somewhere locked beneath the Vatican. And I know the Vatican has an access to their archives. I just don't want to go on there and have to put my email address or something like that, but I'm wondering if there's some kind of reference to Aradia in the Vatican, you know, or they just totally have it hidden. Aradia, her followers, one of my ancestors, did write down as much as they can remember off those scrolls, so we do have some records and literature. But the Vatican started to enormously grow in knowledge and power after they received these scrolls and technology. So I will be discussing this on Friday, August 11th on my show Spiral Radio. You can go to themysticalspiral.com, and my guest will be Lori Bruno. And one of the things we will be discussing is Giordano Bruno, her ancestor, who was executed by fire in the year 1600 by the Vatican because of his knowledge, and because he said there are more worlds out there and we're not the only thing. And he had some knowledge of Aradia, and he was a Strega from Sicily. I don't know if he was born from Sicily, but Lori Bruno's, her family is from Sicily, and she even has other things in her blood, you know, even me as well. I mean, the Moors, my mom's father, last name was Moro, M-A-U-R-O, and Moro means the Moors, you know, and the Moors invaded Italy and Sicily for some time, and they were a black tribe, you know. So we'll get more into this later on, and I gotta go into work. Have a good day, and spiral out.